Everybody ought to know it's us against the world, baby.
What's going on, everybody? We made another week. I hope y'all having a good week so far. Thank y'all for joining us. Another episode. Oh, wait a minute. Now, last time y'all joined us.
Hey, oh yes. Hey.
Last time y'all joined us, this was AP and Friends podcast.
But now.
But now.
It is, let me push this mic from in front of my face. It is AP and Toya podcast.
Hey, AP and Toya podcast. I'm going to close the window.
Yes.
AP and Toya podcast. Thank y'all for joining us. She finally did something to get her name on this podcast. I'm not going to say what she did, but
It's
her name.
It's called V Persuasion.
Hello.
Hey. If
Hello.
you're married, you already know.
Hello. She persuaded me. She's like Liam Neeson. She has a particular set of skills that will get the job done.
Like a man?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, not like
We're going to leave that right
no.
there.
But yo, we are officially AP and Toya podcast, and we are so excited, baby. How you doing?
I'm good.
You're good, right?
I'm good. I'm so good.
Yeah, we're blessed.
Yeah, it's nice. It's sunny.
Yeah, it's beautiful outside. It's beautiful outside.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah, and so we introduced this last time, but we feel like we family with this podcast. So y'all gonna hear us say this all the time. So y'all see us out in public. Y'all know people that listen to the podcast. Our new thing is, hey, family. That's our new thing.
Family.
So if you see us, we like cousins. So you see me from afar, you gotta be like, "What's up, cousin? Hey, family." That's our new thing. All right, we gonna get some shirts and everything made up. Hey, family. AP and Toya podcast. That's gonna be our little slogan. Do not take that because I will. Hey, all right.
You gonna copyright that?
You hear anybody else saying "Hey, family"? You know. They don't listen to the podcast.
Already out there saying "Hey, family."
I know, but we gonna do it better. Yeah. But welcome to the podcast, y'all. Yes. We are so excited. Another episode. Thank y'all so much for all the response that we got on our last week's episode of Friends.
Yes. All the listens, subscriptions.
Yeah, we got some new subscribers in. We got some new Apple Podcasts. We got some couple new
got some ratings.
YouTube. So yeah, we finally got some ratings in for our Apple Podcast, which is good. So far, we're still on 5 stars, which is a good thing. But yeah, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you rate it and comment and all that good stuff. Yes. Review it, yeah. So we appreciate that. But this week we have a great topic this week.
Yeah.
And this week we're going to talk about relationship killers.
Hashtag relationship killers.
Yeah, hashtag relationship killers.
Yeah.
We've been listening to some people and we've been hearing a lot of things, and there's been a lot of relational things going on. What are you doing?
Yeah. Just putting your hand on my thigh.
Okay, I'm like, what are you doing?
Trying to keep this relationship intact. Putting your hand on my thigh. Bringing you closer.
All right, cool. All right, so we have.
Sorry, that threw you off?
It threw me off. I'm like, what are you doing? All right.
Sorry.
So this episode is called
closer.
Relationship Killers, right?
Yes.
And these are some things that really just we've been listening to people and they've been going through a lot of things with their relationships, and they seem like it's a common theme with these relationships, and these are some things that we just wanted to address. Now, this is only part one of this. There are a lot of things that can kill a relationship if they're not cut off right up front. But we just have a short list today. We will continue this podcast. Probably not next week, but in the future we'll pick up the list. Yeah. And we want you guys to be proactive in commenting and leaving what you feel are relationship killers or what have killed relationships that you had in the past. Yeah. And what you have to say about this, Boo, before we go into our topic?
No, I was just gonna say, besides people going through it, I feel like there are things that we have had to overcome ourselves in our relationship.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that we have on this list that we've had to work through personally ourselves to be where we are today, and still some things that still come up, and we still have to be intentional about working through. Yeah. So to keep our marriage intact.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to be before you long. And now, I'll say this because I really didn't have to...
becoming a preacher.
Yeah, I didn't have to say that. You see how she said that? Every time I say we're not going to be before you long, she says the same line. It's almost like good luck now. So we just say it every week. So that's just like our little good luck thing. But
we try not to be
Yeah, we try not to kill you guys. I know it's been like an hour
the
last couple of podcasts, but hopefully you guys are having a good time listening to it, and we've been getting some good feedback, so y'all just listen. We're going to rock with you. Rock with your family for the next 45 minutes or so. I think it'll be 45 minutes, I really don't know. But just rock with us, all right, y'all? Yes. Relationship killers, we're going to get right into it, y'all.
Yes, right into it.
The first thing that kills a relationship, whether marriage or just being a boyfriend and girlfriend, fiance, whatever it is, the first thing that kills a relationship is lack of communication.
Yes.
Lack of communication.
Lack of communication.
Yeah, that is the number one killer, because so many times people will break up because they just, I don't understand you. I don't understand you. Well, you don't understand people because you guys don't talk. There's no way you can understand your spouse or your significant other if you just don't talk to them. What do you have to say about this, Boo? I know you had some good stuff for this.
I know. I think this is very important. I'm happy that we chose this to be number one, because I feel like this is a really important area. Yeah. That if you're lacking in this area of your relationship, it can lead to a lot of consequences. It can lead to separation. It can lead to fights, right? A lot of fights we've had. Over a lack of communication, just because we weren't both sharing, what it is that we needed from each other, because we were just. I think another important thing for me too, I don't know, you can speak on this, I don't know for guys, but I think for me with this communication, I need to take time out, because I say a lot of things when I'm upset. I need to take some time when I get mad or whenever anything happened, instead of just communicating directly to you at that moment, at that time, what I'm feeling. I feel like I always need to step back, take some time, calm down, get my thoughts together, and then we can communicate. Most times.
That's good in theory, and you know you're right. You are right.
Yeah,
right.
For me.
Yeah.
That's what I need to do, to communicate clearly to you what it is that that I'm going through, or however you've offended me, or
or not even what we're going through, but what you expect. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's hard as men. It's hard to. It's hard to do some of the things our wives ask us to do, because sometimes we don't even know what she expected. You know what I mean? So she's expecting us to do one thing, but you're like, but I did it this way. Like my wife was like telling me one time, can you go and wash my car or something like that? And my thing was like, okay, I'll go wash the car. She didn't say when to wash the car. You know what I mean? But she was like, I meant today. But to me, I'm like, I'm just going to do it whenever I want to do it, because you said watch the car, but you didn't say today. So that little bit of miscommunication got her mad. I'm like, what's the problem? And, we had odds over something that's the smallest thing, the smallest of details. That's like a small situation.
So if I say wash the car, I mean, what does that mean? That doesn't mean go wash the car whenever you feel like washing the car. That means, can you wash my car?
But that's the difference between a man and a woman. We do it when we want to do it. Y'all want us to do it on y'all time. And that's where the real miscommunication comes in.
I had to work through that in our early years of our marriage, because I would tell you things and I would expect that you do it right away. And you want to do it on your own timetable.
That's what men do.
Do you want to keep hearing me say over and over, can you wash my car? When you going to wash my car? Like, when you going to go get this? Or when you going to get the oil change? Like, do you want to hear me say that over and over? Like, don't you want to
No, because that's when it turns into nagging. And
oh boy.
What do men hate?
Can I roll my eyes on this thing?
Yeah, you roll your eyes.
I'm going to roll my eyes.
What do men hate? Men hate naggers. Men hate naggers. And the thing is, and you might not call it nagging, but we call it, if you told me once, I heard you. That don't mean, I'm not deaf.
But
I heard you.
But if I have to keep telling you over and over, though, that's what's annoying to me. Like, if I have to keep saying something over and over, like, you're not 5. Like, you're a grown man. Like, if I ask you to do something, you should be able to do it without me asking you 50 million times.
Again, that's the problem. You don't
communicating.
We about to argue right in front. We got company here. And we got family here. We arguing for the family.
You're talking about relationship killers. We're about to kill this relationship.
But I'm being 100 though. Like think about it though. Like, and this is what y'all get when y'all listen to the podcast. We're not gonna come before you fake. We working this stuff out.
Oh my gosh.
Just like y'all working this stuff out. These are things that we talk about.
These relationship killers.
Yeah, but as a man,
y'all
from
already
a man's,
know I'm secretly trying to kill it. Secretly, not so secretly. Last episode.
Now, as men, when we hear a woman ask for something, we say okay. That okay means I don't feel like doing it right now. If we feel like doing it right now, we get right up and go and do it. honestly. But sometimes we just don't feel like moving right then and there. And and we're not gonna be 100 every% of the every time of the day. So every day you can't be like, okay, well, can you go do this, and then we get right up and go do it. Some men do that. Cool. You're more evolved than I am. I appreciate you. But for the guys that I know, we're like, yo, you said it the first time. We get it.
I know, but what's a sufficient amount of time for me to wait, though?
A day.
Because if I say, like, we're using the washing my car example, like, so it's going on next week, or change the light bulb or something. It's going on first week, second week.
All right. See, okay. So if it's going weeks, then that's something else. All right. I'm talking about if it's something that's like that day, then,
Yes.
I get you. All right. Give me a little grace.
But there's some more things in lack of communication besides just.
That's all surfacey stuff.
Yeah, that's surface stuff.
You know what I mean? But there's a lot of different things where it comes to children, it comes to finances, stuff like that. Like, I thought you were going to pay this bill. And I thought you were paying this bill. Now the bill is delinquent, and y'all both looking at each other. Yeah. That now causes strife in your marriage and your relationship because all you had to do was communicate and say what was happening.
Yeah, I think for me, we got married very young. And I think just growing up, like, I feel like I wasn't really taught well how to express myself.
Right.
I feel like a lot of things that I felt, I held it in. Because one, I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I didn't want to hurt other people's feelings. So a lot of things that I felt, I keep it in. Like, I'm trying to work hard on that now. It's just expressing how I feel.
Okay.
But that was really a struggle for me in our relationship too. So I think a lot of times too, there's, some people might be struggling out there with really expressing themselves well too. So I think it's very, it's good to be open and honest with your spouse on, the things that they're doing that's affecting you or what you're really processing through. In whatever way, it's your way. And if you need time to say it, or you need to step back a moment like me and think about it and process through it. But really not burying those feelings. Because sometimes you try to avoid conflict.
Right.
So you don't really communicate things. Because I know sometimes it's just like, all right, I'm going to pick my battles. Like, am I going to really tell him how I'm feeling about this? Because I know it's going to lead to an argument. Or am I going to, just hold it in? And then you hold it in. And then next time something come up, you're, compiling all the things one on top of the other.
Oh, women love that one.
Oh, we gonna argue with this episode. We gonna argue on camera.
No, but you're so right though. You're
So I think
100% right, and I think that's where communication comes in the best. It helps to talking is a dying thing when it comes to in marriage. People just don't talk anymore.
I know,
and that's a horrible thing.
Technology and cell phones.
And that actually leads to our next thing too.
Yeah.
But that is so important. Talking to each other, talking to your spouse is the most important thing because you guys can't accomplish anything. We can't accomplish anything if we don't talk, if we don't communicate. That comes down from the smallest things, from the children getting up, bills being paid, expectations, whatever it is. Yeah, whatever it is. If we don't communicate, our house is out of order and it's not in balance.
Yeah.
And that's when things start to creep in, and that's when arguments happen, and that's when there's discourse in a marriage, and we just can't have that. So communication is key. And when you don't communicate, that's when the assumptions start, right? When you don't communicate with each other, then the other spouse starts to think for the other spouse, oh, this person is thinking this, or this person is thinking that.
You start making assumptions. You start making up stories in your head.
You start making up stories in your head.
This person's doing this, and this person's doing that. In the meantime, the other spouse or your partner is doesn't even know that you're thinking that, and two, they're sometimes they're not thinking that. Yeah. And I think also, before we move on from lack of communication, I think it's good to also say, really be mindful of the way you communicate. Be very mindful of the way you communicate, because I know, sometimes there's a stronger personality than the other in the marriage, and you don't want to be too forceful. I've seen some people communicate in ways or belittling your spouse.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Sounds familiar? Yes.
Yeah, you hurt me.
Oh no, I'm saying for you to be.
No, but you're right though. The way you talk to your spouse, the way you talk to your spouse is very important, because trust and believe, my wife will tell you, if she says something to me out of pocket, it's gonna be a problem. It ain't gonna be a problem. I'm yelling and screaming. It's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna be like, a word.
If I start talking to you just getting all upset. You're like, okay, first of all, watch your tone.
Watch your tone. Who you talking to?
I hate that. That drives me so mad. Because I'm like, I'm mad. Just let me be mad and get out what I need to say. Because I'm mad.
And I'm like, you can't talk to me like that.
Yeah,
I don't know who raised you, but you don't talk to me like that.
I know. I see a lot of dynamics at work with, being a labor and delivery nurse and watching couples interact. And some of them, man, I'm like, I come home like, wow, is this how women out here talking to their husbands these days? Because that is not going to fly in my house.
No. Because I don't want y'all thinking like, oh, he just like telling her like, shut up or whatever. No, I'll never say that. But no. She a Guyanese woman. You know what I mean? She Caribbean.
My shirts say I'm an October woman. I have 3 sides. What does it say? The quiet, the sweet, and the crazy. This shirt.
She just said crazy 3 times and it'd been fine, but
I'm October woman. I'm crazy.
But I'm telling you, but when we talk to each other, we like to say, okay, we need to have respect for me when you talk. I understand you're upset. Me personally, I don't do with the yelling. I don't like yelling. That's just not me. I grew up and I had a bad temper growing up. So when people yell at me,
honey, you still have a bad temper.
I have a bad temper. I'm not gonna lie, not towards her, but people just make me angry. Stupid stuff make me angry, and so thank God, I'm
You're evolving.
Yeah, I'm evolving because back in the day it was really bad, but
it's really bad now.
Shut up! You're such a liar.
No, you've grown in that area.
Yeah, I have. Before I jump, I really jump.
Before you couldn't even really get a word out. He would just, or he'll just be angry and he'll just leave. I'm like, but we need to talk about it. Oh, what about when I say, baby, we need to talk? What do you always say? That Dave Chappelle.
I know communication is key.
Like, baby, we need to talk. Or I text you like, can we talk about something?
Yeah, that's okay. Real quick, so we're taking a lot of time on communication, but that's the worst thing you can do to a man. All right, baby, can we talk? Baby, we need to talk.
Really?
In your head, you're like, what? Like, what did I do? The first thing you start to think about is, what did I do? Like, that's the first thing you think about.
Did I do something wrong, though?
Because when women say, baby, can we talk? It's like, wait, did I do something wrong? Like, that's the first thing I do is take mental inventory. Yeah. Thank God I'm living right and all the other stuff because, some people, when their wives say that, they be like, oh, like they start trying to tie up loose ends. But the thing is, like, when she says that, it drives me crazy. I'm like, just say what you got to say. Like, just don't say, baby, we need to talk. I need to talk to you right now.
I don't want to talk to you while you're at work. I'm just trying to tell you, like, when you get home, we need to have a talk.
Oh, God. But the crazy thing is you say that sometimes, and then it'd be the most silliest thing. Like, what do you think about me changing my hair color? I mean, that's what you want to talk about? Like, really? Okay. Anyway, a lack of communication is the number one relationship killer. Again, we've dealt with some surfacey stuff, but you guys understand what we're talking about. If you don't communicate with your spouse, there's no way that you guys are going to make it.
Yeah.
Point blank. I don't care how many, I don't care how many years you've been together. People, we talked about evolving and all that other stuff. If you don't talk through your evolution, then you're going to break up. It's as simple as that. Yeah. So you got to communicate with each other, all right? Communication is key. Communication
is key. And when we went to counseling a few years ago, they told us about, before we start to talk about any issue, finances, budgets, any way we've offended each other, anything we're communicating about, like, I guess the tough conversations that we need to communicate about, they told us to hold hands and to pray before.
Yeah.
I want to put that advice out there because it's good advice.
It's good. Hey, pray.
But in theory,
meditate, whatever you do.
We have prayed before budget meetings because budget meetings is a tough money things.
And we're gonna do another podcast called "Honey, I Spent the Money."
Because he likes to spend all the money. Yes. Yeah. But yes, maybe pray before. I want to put that out there because it's good advice, and I'm gonna take this advice myself. Yeah. Pray before we talk about tough. We have to communicate to each other about tough subjects.
And the last thing I want to say about this subject, because we do need to move on. Pray through them, but also you got to have the conversation. No matter how good or how bad the conversation is, you got to be able to work through it together. If you don't communicate, there's no way you can work through it together. It's impossible. No. All right. So, we said a lot for lack of communication, and we can go on and on. We can do a podcast by itself on lack of communication and how it affected our marriage and how we've gotten better at it. From growing up until now, we've really kind of gotten a lot better at it. We still struggle at times, but we gotten better at it. But so we can do a whole podcast on that by itself. But we want to give you guys these other tips. Number 2. Actually, let's go to the social media.
Yeah, we talked about technology, right? Technology and social media. So, this has been a major struggle for us. We're better now.
How so?
Because you'll put your phone down when I ask you to. Before it was a struggle.
Oh, okay.
So we're talking about social media and technology, right? So some people, I put technology in there too, besides social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff, and / technology, because some people aren't on social media, but you're still on your phone. You're still looking at your phone.
It could be video games, it could be television. That's all types of technology.
Movies, whatever. Yeah. Instead of looking at your spouse, I think there's a time to be on your phone, and there's a time to be present with your spouse. I think just even when we go out to dinner, like sometimes we're out to dinner and like if you look around the restaurant, not just us, like people are just like they're out eating together, but they're both looking at their phone.
I went to lunch the other day, and sitting across from me was a father and daughter, and they literally did not look at each other one time the whole time. The only time they looked up was when the food was coming. But other than that, they were both on their phones. The father and the daughter were both on their phones the whole time, and I was like, wow. I kind of took notice, like, wow, that's crazy. But you do talk about we sacrifice time that we could be spending with our spouse, with our family, for all these gadgets and social media and Facebook. One of the cool things about having an iPhone, Team iPhone, they tell you how much screen time you have. They let you know. They break it down to the minute. How long you've been on your phone. They break it down to how often you even touch your phone. Mm-hmm. Like that's dope to me. But they show you how much time you spent that whole week on your phone. Yeah. And what apps and what this and all that other stuff. And so when you look at that, like I think one time I had like 11 hours a day or something like that. I was touching my phone. Crazy. That's crazy. Out of the 24 hours, 11 hours a day I was touching my phone. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Yeah. And most of it's social media. I have some games on my phone, stuff like that. But we also listen to a lot of podcasts, stuff like that. So we watch YouTube all day. So we'll go to sleep also listening to like raindrops and stuff like that. So that stuff on YouTube, that stuff factors in. But spend a lot of time on our phones, and social media can be a killer for another reason too. I'll say this. I don't think we talked about this, but when you go on social media, there's so much stuff happening on social media, it can start to affect who you are. And I'm talking about when you scrolling, you can see half-naked women when you scroll. When you scrolling through Shade Room or whatever, you can see the negative comments that people leave. And when you scrolling through social media, you see these images of what you think you should be, whether it be a happy family or rich or skinny or better looking, whatever it is. When you see these things on social media, it starts to take hold of who you are as a person. And so that time that you spend on social media can really start to transform your brain and also put a false image of yourself in front of you. And you should know exactly who you are. You are beautiful. You are smart. You are all these good things. And don't let social media dictate exactly who you are. So I think social media is a great thing. Y'all follow AP Toya podcast, but it's a beautiful thing. But it can also be a toxic thing too, because so many people are dying. People are committing suicide because of what people post on social media with bullying and I'm not pretty like this, so I need to get a Kardashian butt and I need to get lip fillers and all this other stuff. And people are like taking social media like it's the end all be all, man. And I just want to encourage you guys, like, don't let social media be the thing that tears apart your relationship. Because there's some people like, why can't you be like him? Or why can't you do what she do? And all it really is you seeing this image.
Why can't you be a Russell?
Yeah, why can't you be Russell Wilson? Why can't you be like Sierra?
Because I'd be like, well, he's holding her purse. Why can't you hold her purse?
Other day we was at Starbucks. She like, can you hold my purse?
Just for a second, y'all. I'm like, can you hold my purse while I go to the bathroom? You're like, no. Russell holds Sierra purse.
Yeah, she goes, Russell holds Sierra purse. I'm like, well, you need to go find Russell. What's it?
Fixing her dress and everything. Like, could you fix my hair and
All right.
But yes, and I think I just forgot what I was saying. Yes, I think also that you need to, if you have somebody that you know who you're following, you know what's popping up on your timeline. If you know some lady is popping up and she got all her breasts and her butt and everything out, and you start thinking thoughts and you start thinking about I know you be having that stuff on your timeline. Don't start with me.
No. I'm a Christian man. I don't see none of that stuff.
You Christian man looking at booty. But but yeah, if there's something you making me come on, man, stay focused. Good. Yeah, if there's some people that you're following, you already know. We don't even have to say it. You need to unfollow them. You don't need to see anything extra to add put any thoughts in your mind, and you start thinking and dreaming about her, or you start seeing some man that's like all buff and who knows what. Next thing you know, you liking his pictures, you counting his abs.
You almost made me cuss. I was close. You almost made me cuss. You almost made me cuss.
You're a good Christian man. You're not out there looking at these fake booties. Half of them are not even real. That's why I'm like, you over here crushing over this girl.
Who? I don't crush on.
Not you. I'm saying in general. Not you, because you're a good Christian man.
But, and I got what I want.
But you over here liking, not you, but I'm talking in general.
Gotcha.
Liking, other women's pictures or liking other men's pictures. Next thing you know, you're fantasizing. You want your man to be looking like this, or you want your woman to do this, or this person's wife is doing this. How come you're not doing this?
How come you don't cook? How come you don't do this? How come
she's doing this, or she's doing this for her husband. How come you're not doing that for me? And we could all fall into that, because I see stuff like the whole Russell holding Sierra's pocketbook. That was the first thing that popped up as soon as you I'm not holding your pocketbook. I'm like, well, Russell holds Sierra's pocketbook. Like, why could you hold my pocketbook? So I think just being very mindful of what's popping up on your timeline for a number of reasons, relationship or not, just your own personal well-being. Just be mindful of what's popping up. If you've seen some people and you start questioning yourself and questioning your beauty, or questioning your things that could question your walk with Christ, then
it's time to get off. Yeah, it's time to unfollow. It's time to get off.
That's simple. Unfollow. And then don't go back in that person's page to try to see either. I already know.
Yeah. Social media can be such a waste of time. It can be very inspiring as well, but the dark side of social media is terrible. Between Instagram, Facebook, the comparison. Jonathan McReynolds has a song called "Comparison Kills." You know what I mean? And it's all about that stuff, comparing yourself to the things that you don't have and all other stuff, and then you're trying to be happy with your life, but you're comparing yourself to other people. Like, it's okay. It's okay to be you.
Through their filters, right?
Yeah, through the filters and all that stuff.
Real,
because you can be taking great family pictures. We can be doing this podcast right now. As soon as the camera come off, we beating each other, something like that.
Yeah. Like, you keep liking all them big booty pictures. We gonna have a problem.
Yo, cut it out, man. She terrible.
Yeah.
So let's go forward. But yeah, social media, technology, all that stuff. And for the record, I don't be liking nobody big booty pictures, because she got big booty herself, so I ain't gotta worry about that.
You better not be.
All right. This leads to the next one.
Y'all seen with a black eye under them glasses. Next episode, you know why.
We'll get into emotional baggage.
Yeah.
Emotional baggage can ruin a relationship.
Yes.
Emotional baggage. We're talking about stuff from previous relationships. Mm-hmm. If your old boyfriend dogged you out, if he used to abuse you verbally, physically, sexually, and you bring that into your new relationship, those things can tear a relationship apart, because it doesn't give your new partner an opportunity to prove that person is trustworthy with your heart and with your emotions. And what do you think?
I think as I like to always give my own personal experience with this kind of stuff, I think for me it was just a lot of family baggage, a lot of things that I saw my biological dad do to other women, and verbal abuse, physical abuse, a lot of things. Initially in our relationship too, like I would scream at you, yell at you. I remember one time, like this is a lot of information. One time I slapped you. I don't know if you remember that. Like I
probably blacked out.
slapped you because you were saying something, and I didn't like that. I was like that, and that was the first and last time. Because you let me know. You didn't hit me back, thank God. Mm-hmm. That could have went a whole other way. Yeah. But just some things I brought into the relationship because that's what I grew up seeing. Like, I thought that was the norm. Like, when you get mad, you scream, fight, hit each other, throw punches, verbally curse each other out and, belittle each other. So that was something that I had to work through.
Yeah, and I came from a place where it wasn't really physical hitting stuff. We were shut down. Like, so we went to not talking to each other and stuff like that. And, that's how my household, but, there was some physical abuse in the house and all that stuff. But it was more of, we just wouldn't communicate. We were shut down. And so the emotional baggage thing is big because we can sometimes sabotage ourselves, self-sabotage ourselves. When it comes to relationships, because sometimes we just don't trust people with our hearts because we feel that they are there to be broken, and especially the emotional things where it comes from. You in your last relationship were dogged out, or the guy was horrible to you, or the girl would talk to you any type of way. The girl would say stuff to you to challenge your manhood, or the guy would say things that would be derogatory towards you, and then in your new relationship, you want to argue and argue and argue because that's all you did in your last relationship was argue, and you feel like that's the norm. And your new partner is like, nah, that's not how I do things, But it takes time to kind of cultivate that environment of love and change and all the other stuff. And so if you carry those things with you, your partner really has no chance because they don't get a chance to obviously right some wrongs that were done in your life. You don't let them have the opportunity to be somebody different.
Yeah. And I think we watched a show, the Red Table Talk, where Will and Jada talked about this, remember?
Yeah.
They kept saying, when they get to a point where they're experienced, things in other relationship, and they started bringing that into their current relationship, they started to let each other know, like, look, I can't be the best for you right now, or, we need to step back, we need to take a minute, and then we need to come back and work this thing through,
Yeah, I think she said, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think she said that she was, it was a little funny story, because he said that she came down and she was cursing him out. He got a newspaper and hit her on the top of the head like, boom.
Yeah, it's like, never curse at me.
Never curse at me.
Yeah.
that was the thing you were thinking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think she said from that day on, she never ever cursed at him again. Yeah. Because she was just so used to,
doing that, in
her other relationship, feeling she got to be. Will was like, nah, that's kind of...
Yeah, because he said he was going to break off the relationship. And she was like, you're going to break up with me just because I said one curse word? And he was like, yeah, I was that serious about it. Never curse at me. This is not something that I'm going to, tolerate
I'm not
in our relationship. So that was good. So, yep. Emotional baggage and previous relationships
and family background.
To really take inventory. I think it's good to take inventory, and if you know some things trigger previous things that you've been through before, that you're very mindful that when you get mad, when you're in arguments, you're very mindful of those triggers and what happens after. If you need to take a time out and step back and pull it together and deep breathe, count to 10.
And it also works the other way too, because if you see the same pattern starting to develop in your partner that was in your old relationship, because you've been through it, it's time to get out.
Yeah.
If you see the same pattern starting to build up where he's starting to disrespect you, he's starting to maybe grab your arm harshly, or he's starting to curse at you in a way that makes you uncomfortable, those signs too. And so we're not saying, give him a shot because now no. If you see the signs are there that that person is abusive in any way, it's time to be out. It's that simple. So so often people get caught up because they want somebody to be different. They love somebody that they tolerate the foolishness. You know what I mean?
They love people for who they can be. We talked about this in the last episode. You love people. You love them so much that you love them for who you expect them to be or who you think they can become, and not who they really are, who they're showing you they are.
Yeah. So that's very important, guys. So emotional baggage is that can be a relationship killer.
Yes.
So,
all right, next one, big one. Infidelity.
Infidelity.
Oh my gosh, I think that's like the ultimate.
And again, these aren't in no
order
of importance.
Order.
They're not order of importance. This is just
all of these things.
Yeah.
If any of these things, they can start going down. Everything can start going left.
Yeah.
But infidelity is it's a big one.
Yeah.
And I think about this because I feel like it's been a hot topic in the news lately.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like usually we see celebrities. I mean, we see celebrities, their pictures, and they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And we admire them, and look up to them. But I think now, like, I feel like, I don't know, like people are making infidelity look like it's okay. Like, we see, especially now that we know that Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. I don't know if it's in my head, but especially now that we know that Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce, we're like she's Beyonce. Like, Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. Like, for as long as I thought in my head, like, they had the best, perfect relationship.
No,
like,
but
she has Jay-Z. He has Beyonce.
Yeah,
and
now that they went through, you know,
like the struggles they went through, like Cardi B and Offset. Yeah. And we're just seeing all of these, which is I think, not a good thing that they went through this, but it's good to see, and the fact that they were able to stick through it and work through it. And I'm not saying that's like the best thing for everyone. If you're in a relationship and I feel like your husband is constantly cheating on you, and you've had these conversations, I mean, I feel like you do what's the best for your relationship. You pray, you do what's best, you seek counsel. Lots of counseling. I mean, the person even has to get to the point where they want to go to counseling, because if you're in the wrong and you're doing wrong, sometimes people want to keep doing wrong. Like, so I was just saying with like the celebrities, I went off a little, just saying, do what's best for your relationship. But now I feel like now, like, we're seeing it more with celebrities. They're being more open about, things are coming out, of course, with videos and social media and all that stuff. Who else?
Kevin Hart got put out there
while his wife was pregnant.
Yeah, Kevin Hart got put out there. I mean, but that goes to show you that they're not exempt to these things. Even though they have all the money in the world and all the power and all that stuff, they're not exempt to it. So don't think that you're going to be. Let's not say that. Infidelity is something that plagues marriages. No matter how short you've been married or how long you've been married. Yeah. Infidelity is something that is not tolerated at all. And it also is something that, it is a deal breaker for a lot of people. And I understand that. And that's something that is it's so understandable. You know what I mean? Because we've gone through things. We said it before, emotional baggage. We've seen our parents get cheated on, or we've seen somebody that we know close to us that has had their heart broken because of infidelity and stuff like that. The question is, how do you get through infidelity if it does happen? Yeah. Because I mean, even now in the media, you got John Gray's going through stuff right now in the media, about did he or didn't he or this or that, and people are kind of coming for his head and all this other stuff. The question is, how do you?
I want to talk about that for so many reasons, but I'm not. Because if you told me that you got all them hotels just to go talk, I'm gonna talk to you and her.
With a headbutt.
Yes.
That's a whole nother.
That just rubbed me a whole other way. That's a
whole nother issue, man.
The fact that his wife was like, "Oh, he didn't cheat on me," and she was clapping. Girl, what you think he was doing in that hotel? They was talking all right.
You don't know.
You
don't know.
They was talking all right in tongues, according to her. Yeah. He was talking all right. She was talking. I'm sorry. I just don't want to. Did you see that interview? Did you see that interview?
No,
he was like, I did not cheat. It was just an emotional affair. We were talking. And this is him. He got his collar all up here in his neck. It's like, I'm sorry. just as a woman, I was just like, so you was talking to her in that hotel, all them times you was talking to her, you talking with your man parts. Sorry,
man parts. I gotta cut that out, man parts. We'll cut that out.
You want me to say the P word? I got no problem.
It's funny, just to cut it off and be like, man parts.
Man parts.
No, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, man. And infidelity is a big thing because one, infidelity is a lack of trust. It's a lack of and people go through different things when dealing with infidelity and things like that. And that's just the biggest thing. The one thing, he said he emotionally cheated or something like that. You know what I mean?
Lies.
But think about it. All these things we talk about all go together. The lack of communication.
I'm sorry. People might actually, like and listen and follow.
We follow John Gray
Ministry.
We follow John Gray Ministry.
I have been very blessed by some of his work, his books. I've been
his
blessed
books are
by
great.
His books.
Yeah.
And by his ministry.
But
yeah. No, that's just me. Please don't unfollow or not like because I just said what I said.
Look.
And I did this with the neck thing. Oh my God! Can you cut this out?
No,
cut
I'm not.
out.
No,
oh my
I'm
gosh!
not. But we're talking about real. We're talking about
out.
real stuff, and infidelity is something that is just real deal. And so, and I think we should actually do some type of podcast or some type of panel thing. Maybe get a panel together with dealing with infidelity and stuff like that because it is a relationship
talk about
killer.
Why men and women cheat?
Why men and women cheat? I know there's so many different ways beyond just a physical thing. There's so many different ways too. I mean, so many different things. So
I feel like emotional cheating is bad too because you're getting wrapped up, even if you don't get to that physical act. But the fact that you're giving your mind and your trust.
It's just as bad.
Yeah,
it's just as bad. I mean, I don't see the difference in the both of them. I get physical is taken to a whole nother level, but emotional I think is almost deeper because the person it's just it's a lot there. So
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have judged that man like that. I shouldn't.
For your hate mail, please send it to AP. And no, actually, send an email. Send it to you.
Please take that out.
No, I'm not taking it out.
That was bad. I just went off on my own. But yes,
that's right.
His
wife will thank you because you were just speaking on behalf of his wife, and she's trying to be the good soldier.
She was on TV like this is literally her clapping like he didn't cheat, y'all. Girl.
So you're her inner voice. You're talking for her. So we appreciate you being the congregation for her. But I do think we do need to get more on infidelity.
You know what I'm talking about. They say he was speaking in tongues. He was cheating.
Look, we're gonna go to this last one, y'all. We're gonna get out your way, and we said this. We try
but counseling. Let's give some advice. If you are experiencing this is very a tough situation. Yeah. We've experienced some things with ourselves in the past too, so we're not just talking to be talking. We've walked through this thing.
We walked it,
And I mean, I say all these things about John Gray, but this is happening every day with our friends, our family. It has happened with us, and we've had to go through lots of counseling.
Yeah.
But the fact that we were willing to work through it, we were willing to pray through it, cry through it, and really struggle through it, and we had to build that trust again.
It took years.
Trust again.
Yeah. And so we're joking around and saying stuff like that, but we don't take that lightly at all. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so
cause it hurts, man.
Yeah.
It hurts. It hurts.
Yeah, and so we don't want to take that lightly. We're not taking it lightly and making jokes stuff like that. We just know that this it's a subject that is a sore one, and it is the number one. I think more than anything, lack of communication. It is the number one thing that will break relationships up. Yeah. And so I think, but it is a good thing to have a discussion on that stuff, man. Because just to have a panel, because I know a lot of people that have gone through that stuff, and some have recovered. Some marriages have recovered and they've been together for years. I mean, they've been going strong. It actually brought them together. But I know some people that have gotten divorced because of it. So I know people that have gotten divorced over it and are still hurting from that stuff.
Years later.
Years later. So, yeah, counseling is a great thing, and also communication.
Counseling is an awesome thing.
Yeah. And I wasn't even a believer in counseling, honestly, until we had to go through some of the things that we went through, and then realize how counseling brought us all the way back to just our birth, brought us back to how we became,
childhood.
Yeah, how we became who we are as adults based on what we saw as children, what we've been through, the heartache, the mentalities that were put inside of us, and then after going through that stuff, then seeing where we able to come back together to make this broken thing whole again. And so we've been through a lot. And so when we do these podcasts and stuff like that, we don't come to you try and make it all nice and shiny for you guys. We give it to you with the real, in hopes that our stuff can help you guys through. And you know, and so this is this is therapy for us too, because we pour ourselves out to you guys too, and we do it on purpose because we want you guys. We don't want you guys to feel like you're only going through this. No, if it's anything that happened in a relationship, we've probably gone through it.
Yeah,
we've probably gone through it.
We've been together for 19 years.
19
now,
years,
so.
and we've been together since we were 14 and 15 years old.
Yeah.
So you're talking about children, we're kids.
We've had to experience, like, go through mental growth, differences in our body changing, spiritual growth, and career changes, job loss,
emotional stuff,
like financial things,
death. We've gone through all the gambit of everything.
Death of some very important people
in our lives. So we've been through the gambit of this stuff. So we don't just say this stuff just to, to like, let me go down this checklist. No, this is stuff that we've dealt with in our lives. So we give ourselves so that you guys can know that you're not in this by yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So you're not in this by yourself. So, with all that being said, so where were we? Infidelity. Yes. Yeah, infidelity is probably the number one relationship killer. But we probably should we go to this last one, or we save it for the next one?
Which one? Lack of intimacy. Okay. Yeah. We could go through real quick.
Lack of intimacy.
Yes.
All right. So we'll go through this real quick. This is the last one, y'all. I know it's going to be a long podcast. I'm so sorry about that. We tried to break it down, but
we will not be before you long.
Yeah. No, we're going to be before you long with this last point. But thank y'all for hanging in. If you got to this point of the podcast, you're almost there, and you're doing so good. So we appreciate y'all.
So good.
We're gonna go through this quick. Lack of intimacy.
Yes.
Now, this lack of intimacy could be through sex. It could be through affection. You know what I mean?
Yes. I said sex because originally when we came up with this, I was like sex, and I was like. One thing we saw, I said poor sex, and Aaron was like, no, not sex, it's hugging and kissing and holding hands, and I was just thinking sex.
Yeah, she was thinking sex, but
so sex, I mean,
no, but you're right though, sex is something too, because we've known people that have broken up because of no sex, or like you said, poor sex.
But I think for women, like for me, I struggled with this, especially after having kids. Like, your body's changed. You don't feel the same way anymore. Like, I was just not feeling right. Like, I gained with my first pregnancy, I went from 115 to 210.
Yeah, you almost gained 100 pounds.
Yeah, I gained so much weight. Like, I just wasn't feeling sexy. Like, I wasn't feeling sexy. And I think our marriage suffered a little with that, too. Because we just we weren't having... I mean, we were new parents, too.
Yeah, so we're trying to figure it all out.
Having sex. But there's other times in our relationship where we got so busy with work and just life. Like, we were just not having date days. We weren't having sex on the regular.
But now...
Oh, boy.
Hallelujah. God has been good to me. No.
God has given us a lock on our door. And can I say, hallelujah to that.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yes. Hallelujah.
Oh, my God. Yo,
because if you're married with kids,
oh my gosh! Again, that's another podcast. You got a lock
on your door, because you know why we're excited about this? We going off thing because last house we did not have a lock on the door, and it was a struggle. Like, bro, why can't you wake me up at 3 or 4 a.m. when the kids are asleep?
I'm like, yo.
He always want to do it when the kids up, like, are in the next room. He I'm going to pull the furniture.
Yo, we had to put laundry baskets against the door.
Furniture.
We put a dresser against
like,
the door.
We would move furniture, and kids would be like, Ma, why the door not opening? Like, come back, me and Daddy searching for something under the bed. Like, I'm trying to find my shoe under the bed. Come back. Or you're like mid doing it, and you like turn around like, is the door still closed?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, Aaron, this is so off topic. Come on, let's go back to what you were saying about.
Yes.
But yes. Hallelujah for that lock on the door. Anytime, morning, night, midday, like, I like you, you like me.
It's on the popping. It's on the popping. But lack of intimacy, yes, I think it's very important.
My mama gonna watch this, Aaron.
Hey, mom-in-law. Lack
the
of
power
intimacy.
of that lock, right?
Yeah, lack of intimacy. Men are very big on this stuff because men, women too. Well, you speak for me. I can't speak for women, but men always are ready to go. Most men are ready to go because they you marry somebody that you're attracted to. You marry somebody that's beautiful. You marry somebody that you feel is sexy and all this other stuff. And this is why y'all first got attracted to each other. Was the first thing you saw was the physical, appearance. And so, for a man, for me, it's just very important. You know what I mean? And my wife will let you know sometimes it's just, she could be sick. And I'm like, hey, babe,
man,
I know you sick and all.
I'm about to tell that chicken pox story, but I'm not going to go there. That chicken pox story.
Oh, my gosh.
We're not going to go there. We're not going to go there.
We were young.
No. My mama gonna watch this.
All right. Anyway.
My mama.
Lack of intimacy.
Lack of intimacy.
Sex. And also when you.
I want to say one more thing about sex. I know this is taking forever in this podcast, but I know you said men are like ready to go, and I feel like women, a lot of us, maybe some women are just ready to go. I'm just not that woman. I feel like it takes a lot of things. Like it takes that building that love bank and doing things and that providing that love language and kind of being like, I don't want to just come home and just jump in the bed and be like, like I need you to romance me a little and love on me and do some things before I can be like, let's do something. Yeah, like I need that build up before to Not like that. Not like
good
that.
Pound girl. You already know what it is now. You know what it is.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you doing stuff. Like, whatever your partner's love language is, like speaking into your partner's. Like, mine is acts of service. So when I come home and dinner's ready.
When the dinner ready,
bed's made and kids are good. It helps me to relax. Mm-hmm. So
I'm like, hey girl, go ahead and take a shower. I know your food's in the microwave, but go ahead and take a shower. When you come out, I'll have the lotion ready for you to go. And here's your pajamas. I hope your day wasn't too bad. Can I rub your feet for you? Everything's okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
if you say like, let me lotion you, I already know. Like, I already know.
You can't just be ashy out here.
I'd rather be ashy sometimes because if you be like, hey girl, let me lotion you, let me help you out. It's a wrap.
Oh,
if
God.
you say, let me help you out, and the lock is on the door, it's a wrap.
Let me help you out. Click, click.
Lock the door? Okay.
Lock the door.
He really doesn't want to lotion me and rub my feet. He wants something else.
All right, John.
Yeah.
Look, we talk way too much in this podcast, but these are some of the things that we've gotten to for relationship killers, and there are going to be more. It's probably going to be a part 2 to this thing, but today, just to recap, we talked about 1, lack of communication, 2, jealousy. We talked about social media, how the effects of it can ruin your marriage. Yeah. We talked about lack of intimacy. We talked about emotional baggage, and lastly, we talked about infidelity. Yeah. So these are 6 things just to start that can be relationship killers. And we have a lot that we want to get into, so we probably will do a part 2 to this thing. Mm-hmm. And I think my wife had looked up something. What was it?
Oh, yes. So this book, we've used other books.
Yeah.
But I think recently we discovered this book. Let me try to pull it out here. So I'll give you the...
No, I'll hold the book and you talk.
You hold the book.
Yeah.
Is it going to be backwards?
I got you. It might be backwards. Sorry. The
Put
Four
it down. It's
Agreements.
called The Four Agreements.
Yeah.
By Don, what's his name?
It's on the back.
Don Miguel Ruiz.
There you go.
And he has his son too that also has written other books in adjacent to this one.
Yeah.
But this book talks about 4 agreements, and I think it really goes hand in hand with these marriage killers. So he has 4 things that he talks about. The first agreement is be impeccable with your word. And I don't know if you want to explain. But I feel like we need to be, when you're in a relationship, you really need to be impeccable with your word. Yeah. Not the words that you're only telling yourself, but also the words that you're speaking with your spouse. Because originally when I read this, I'm like, oh, be impeccable with your word, meaning like, you know, like make sure what you're speaking is accurate, make sure like you're honoring your word. If you say you're going to do something, you show up to do it, which is also good, right, in your marriage. But it was just saying, you know, making sure you're not gossiping, making sure that whatever you say to yourself and to your spouse is honoring.
Yeah, you want to make sure you continue to speak life to yourself and to your spouse.
Second agreement I'll go through quickly is don't take anything personally. And I think this applies for a lot of areas, right?
Don't take things personally.
Don't take things personally. And I know a lot of things, even in relationships, sometimes you'll say something to me, and I don't know what you're going through. You might be having, you know, be having a rough time, rough day, or some things we talked about, emotional baggage from childhood and things like just not taking things personally. Everybody's going through something. Your partner can be going through something. So just making sure you're using that open line of communication to talk to each other. Number 3, third agreement is don't make assumptions.
Don't make assumptions.
And I can't speak on this one enough, because there's been so many times where I assume. You tell me this every day. Like, do not assume that I'm thinking that. If I didn't say that, like, don't assume that that's what I'm thinking.
I say that all the time. Yeah. If just because you think I'm thinking this, doesn't mean that is truth to me. And I say that all the time. Like, stop. Just because you assume I'm thinking this way doesn't mean that I'm truly thinking this way. Stop putting your thoughts onto me. Yeah. And because your thoughts aren't my thoughts. And so, we say that all the time, because, you know, sometimes she likes to think what I'm thinking. Try to think where I am. And I'm like, no, I wasn't even thinking about that. Yeah. And then she puts those feelings onto the subject. And then next thing you know, we're colliding. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I create stories in my head, and then I, like, put that on you. And then this book has really helped me to realize, like, the things that I'm telling myself, or the theories that I'm coming up in my head, I'm, like, going like this on subconscious. I'm like, well, I'm not crazy. But the things that I think in my head, the stories that I come up with in my head, like, sometimes I place that on you. And you're like, yeah, no, I definitely wasn't thinking anything like that. Yeah. You know, when I said that, that's not what I meant. Yeah. So the third one, don't make assumptions. That's really good. Fourth agreement, always do your best. And I love this one. I take this one with me, like, every day. Like, it's in the back of my mind, like, always showing up and always doing my best. Yeah. And I guess relationship-wise, always, doing your best for the relationship. Showing up, if you're a wife, showing up and being the best wife that you can be. Communicating, expressing to your spouse, your needs, your wants. Sexually, emotionally, financially, really telling your spouse. Don't assume that they know, like, what's going on with you and the things that you want. We had to get to the place where I had to tell Aaron, like, this is what I like. I like for you to do these things. I like when I come home that the bed is made. I like that, if I'm out all day and you're off, the dinner is cooked. Like, these are some things that I like sexually. Like, these are... like, I had to get to that place where I told you my needs and my expectations, and not just assuming that you're going to show up for me that way when I didn't express that to you.
Always do your best.
Always do your best to be the best spouse, the best partner, the best friend, the best whatever you are in your life. Always, I think that's a good note to end on. Always do your best.
That's a gem in life. Like, always, I think I heard a guy say, always be your best self. Yeah. In any situation, always show up. That's what it was. Always show up. That's one of my coaches used to telling me. Always show up. Never give half effort, because if you show up, you never know what could happen. You never know. I played football, college football. My coach will always say that. Always show up. Meaning you need to always be there, do your job, and do what you're supposed to do. Because if you show up then opportunity's there. If you show up every single time, there's always opportunity to walk through a door. So if you show up every day in your relationship and your marriage, you never know how God can bless you. You never know how you can be a blessing to your spouse, to your kids, to everybody. So always do your best and always be your best you, right?
Yeah.
And that's my prayer every day. God, help me to be a better father, better husband, better friend on today. Help me to be better today than I was yesterday. I say that every single day because I seriously mean it. I'm sorry, again.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to add to that. I tell myself, like, I need to show up and do my best. Not because I'm gonna get rewarded, not because I'm gonna get a paycheck, not because you're gonna tell me I'm such a great wife and all that kind of stuff, but just showing up and being your best, knowing that I guess our ultimate reward is, being more Christ-like.
But also being happy. It's easy to be happy when you feel like you're doing your best. Yeah. If you feel like you're leaving stuff in the tank, and that's when depression comes in. That's when self-doubt comes in. When you just leave stuff in the tank, you gotta always go. You gotta go. And so when you do things, you work hard, you love hard, you play hard, all that stuff. Do those things because you never know when it's your last day. So if you always show up, be your best person, then that's where greatness shines. So
you never know when you're going to get rewarded.
You never know when you get rewarded.
Heyo.
Hello.
Okay.
Bed is made. Okay. Is it 4 agreements?
The bed is made, yes. The 4 agreements.
4 agreements.
By Don Miguel Ruiz.
Don Miguel Ruiz.
I love this book.
It's a great book. My wife is obsessed with it.
Relationship or not, I just want to buy this book and give copies to everyone.
Like everybody.
This is such a great book. It says a practical guide to personal freedom. And I'm telling you, after you read this, he talks about so many other things than we talked about. He goes into depth. Yeah. But it's such a great book if you're looking.
Yeah. And my wife is actually going to start doing some book reviews on our page. Yeah. We're going to get our Facebook page set up and all that stuff too. So we're going to have some type of Latoya's Corner, Latoya's, book review. We're going to do AP's Barbershop where I get to chop it up with the fellas or something like that. We're going to do some stuff like that too. Yeah. So you guys stay tuned. Thank y'all for joining us. Y'all stuck in. If you got to this point in the podcast, you made it. Congratulations. Clap it up for yourself. Toya, clap it up for the people. Clap it up for our family. We love y'all so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for checking this out.
For being so judgy.
So judgy and long-winded. You love me?
I love you.
I love you too, babe. All right. We work through this though, right, y'all?
Yes.
All right, so thank y'all for joining us, man. AP and Toya podcast.
AP
here to stay, yeah. So if y'all follow us on Instagram, AP Toya podcast on Instagram. Follow, what's your Instagram again, boo?
At Toya P28.
Toya P28. Yeah. And I am that boy AP, DATBOI. AP, that boy AP on Instagram. Yes. Follow our pages. Make sure you check us out on Spotify. Check us out on SoundCloud. Check us out on Apple Podcasts. We are there, and now we are part of the YouTube family too. Yes. So everything is under AP and Toya podcast. All right, y'all. We thank y'all so much for joining us. Thank y'all. We appreciate y'all. We're probably gonna do some giveaways. So we should give away a book or something like that too.
We should.
If y'all want this, what's the 4 agreements, right? If y'all want the 4 agreements, y'all comment below. And the first person that comments they want the book, we gonna give it to y'all.
I want to bless somebody with this book because you're really gonna be blessed. And
the first person.
Yes.
That says they want the book.
We are a praying couple. We are praying for all of our listeners. If you're in a rough place right now, if you're in a rough place right now with your marriage, we are praying for you.
Well, just personally, too.
Yes, or personally, we are standing in agreement for you. We pray every time we start this podcast for our listeners. So be encouraged. We hope these tips will help you out in your daily lives. So.
Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow. Put on those post notifications, too, because, Instagram has all these algorithm things going on and all that stuff. But if you put on our post notifications, every time we post something, you get an alert saying that AP and Toya podcast posted something. So, make sure y'all go ahead and do that. All that good stuff. We love y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Yeah. You made it through the whole podcast, and now you can go and have fun because it's a beautiful day outside. Well, it's going to be Thursday. I don't know what the Thursday weather is. But y'all stay tuned. Thursday be nice. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. And Toya, do you want to give the news sign off? Sing it, girl.
I don't know. I have to come up with a new one. I haven't had time to think about it.
All right, y'all. We out, man. Have a good one.
Bye.
Oh, baby. Us against the world. Oh, baby. You can't deny